morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Collector Clicks Nation. Welcome back to another team building video. Today, we are going to be building around perhaps the only Avengers Forever chase that has the capability to shake up the meta, and that is Iron Hammer. Now, before we dive too deep into Iron Hammer, I kind of want to go into some of the history around Tentpoles and their capabilities and, just the basics of building around them. Now, when I first got out of the game, Unimind and Goblin King were the big tentpoles. Lately, it's been Thanos, primarily as a tentpole, but the main thing you notice is that they don't really rely on being on a theme team. Now, with pieces like Felix Faust, Venom Magneto, and Molecule Man, you get some really cheap support pieces that can help your tentpole become extremely powerful. Now, these pieces won't always fit on a theme, but that's kind of the power of a tentpole. Tentpoles shouldn't need to be on a theme team for them to work. And it's hard to make them a theme team with only 125 points left to build around them, on top of the idea that you're really not going to be winning map roll if you can only get, 5 pieces on your team, on your force. So you're really only relying on a theme team to get those theme team PCs. But that's where Felix Faust comes in, and some of the other pieces that you can throw on to a non-theme team. Some great support pieces that are out there for really any tentpole team, whether or not it is Iron Hammer, are the Collector, Hope Summers, Felix Faust, Molecule Man, the Commissioner, the Apocalypse and Genesis duo, the Flashes, I am going to say the Manifold from X of Swords storyline Organized Play, as well as Venom Magneto, if I haven't said him already. With all of that out of the way, let's start going over Iron Hammer's actual dial and the traits that go along with it. So he really only has one trait, but it's extremely powerful and something that the game has never seen before. It's called Chest Mounted Bifrost, and it grants super senses, but when he uses it and succeeds, instead of evading the attack, you may choose an opposing character within range and line of fire to become the hit target. This is extremely powerful because he does have improved targeting, hindering, elevated, and characters as a special on his attack. So pretty much everything is within line of fire of him. What you can do is get a bunch of shield characters around him to give him a 10 range and make half the map, within range and line of fire of this trait. He also gets Pen Psych, and when Iron Hammer hits with a ranged attack after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to all opposing characters adjacent to a hit target with his special and attack. And this is extremely helpful, especially for a tentpole kind of build, because you need to be able to damage more than one character per turn. This is kind of, what Emperor Gladiator ran into, being 100 points and only being able to attack one character per turn. He's still extremely powerful, but what became common practice was to give him the pumpkin bomb so that he just had the capability to energy explode and hit more than one character at a time. Now, the only thing that is protected outwit on Iron Hammer's style is his defense, and it grants invincible and willpower. So, extremely powerful. He comes in at 150 or 100 points. His stat line top dial is 10 movement, 12 attack, 19 defense, 4 damage with RCE and running shot, and then his specials on the attack and defense. He starts with a 7 range triple bolts and the Defender's team ability. So, another rare, 19 Defender's team ability character as well. You don't really see that a whole lot. So there's a lot of things that we can really take advantage with here with Iron Hammer. The main thing that we're going to focus on, though, is the Super Sense trait. So the Super Sense trait allows you to really get in an attack during your opponent's turn, and like I said, we've never seen this before in HeroClix, so it's got a lot of people excited, and I'm one of them. There are 2 real things that you can do to make sure that this goes off, and that is giving him the Herald dial or giving him the bracelets, the Wonder Woman bracelets from Wonder Woman 80th anniversary. So the Wonder Woman bracelets will make his super senses a 4 through 6, but his super senses is still outwittable, and you are equipping him. So what I've kind of found in some of my playtesting is there are going to be a lot of scarabs out there, especially because they can now fit on X-Men themed teams. So when you equip Iron Hammer with the bracelets, Scarab can outwit his super senses, or if not his super senses, just his main attack power from anywhere on the map, making him not useless, but 150 points that could be spent better elsewhere. So I prefer to use the Herald dial just because that Scarab piece is going to be very prevalent in the meta, at least until it retires. But the bracelets might be a good choice, you know. I think they're still a decent choice, especially if you have another way to grant him protected outwit, such as She-Hulk, the super rare from Avengers Forever. If you decide to run Avengers theme and throw that on here with Iron Hammer, that's definitely useful. But I think just giving him the Herald dial for 25 points so that you don't have to worry about it, no matter what you're facing up against, you don't have to worry about outwit on Iron Hammer. I think that's well worth the 25 points. Also, I'm looking for a reason to break Galactus out of his box, and I've been looking for a reason ever since I got the stupid thing. So Iron Hammer gives me that reason, and really, he's the only character. I don't want to say he's the only character, but he's the best suitor for the Herald dial since the Herald dial was released. Now, when building around Iron Hammer, I really went with two different trains of thought. The first one I built in non-theme team with the understanding that when you run a Tentpole, you're really not going to win map roll, and you know I need to offset the theme team PCs that I'm losing. So I went Iron Hammer with a Herald dial, Collector, Molecule Man, Felix Faust, and Hope Summers. Now Hope Summers gives me the capability to really choose whatever I want for her to be. She could choose RCE from Iron Hammer to become a secondary attacker. She can choose Perplex and Super Senses from the Collector to give me another Perplex. She can choose PC, Outwit, really anything that Felix Faust has. She does have Enhancement Top Dial as well, so doesn't really need to choose that from Felix Faust. But with her, Felix, and Collector, Iron Hammer is getting +3 to his damage, and that's that's really insane. One of these pieces might be able to be swapped out for something else. Maybe Hope Summers gets swapped out for, I don't know, Venom Magneto or something along those lines. But having that +3 to damage on Iron Hammer is really beneficial because of pieces like Jubilee. Jubilee takes a 6 damage to kill with one shot, and you are going to want to kill her with one shot. The second team I made was a theme team, and I made this with the understanding that, you know, if I go up against another non-theme team, then I will have the potential to maybe go first if I'm lucky on my map roll. So it was a scientist theme with Molecule Man, Double Flash, and Darcy Lewis. Now this only gives me a +5, and I had 20 points to spare, so I went ahead and threw on the Spirit of the Game. +5 probably isn't going to get me a lot of map rolls unless I'm going up against a non-theme team, but I do have full map reach with this team, so Iron Hammer does have the ability to alpha, and whenever he does hit something, I am able to spin that Herald dial another click or something like that. But really, this team does not stand up to the non-themed variant that I made. The non-themed variant just allows me to put on really anything I want. The Collector is insanely good, especially when paired with the other pieces on the team, because I'm able to give everything a +1 to damage. So Felix Faust is actually hitting with 3 damage. He's able to destroy blocking terrain. Hope Summers is hitting with 4, and she can take Penpsych RCE to make her hitting for 5. Things like that really make the non-themed variant of an Iron Hammer build a lot better. But going with a theme team, you know, for those of you out there that are stuck in that mindset, because I know I am stuck in that mindset, that want to build a theme team and make sure that you stick to, you know, maybe that's your idea of the spirit of the game. It has to be a theme team. Well, this is a very decent team. I mean, decent. It's very good. It's a very good team. I just feel like going non-themed with the Tentpole gives you a lot more options, and as opposed to going themed with the Tentpole, you know, you're probably going to win map about the same number of times. And real fast, for everybody out there that's never ran the Herald Dial or the Elemental Converter, or really never even seen it being played, the Herald Dial gives a character the Power Cosmic team ability, or as it's known now, the Cosmic Energy team ability. So it does grant willpower and protected outwit. It also gives them a range value of 5 if their printed range is less. So you're really not getting anything out of putting this on Iron Hammer outside of the protected outwit. But it also has the capability to grant the Herald additional powers. So at the end of your turn, if Herald is within 5 squares of an opposing character or KO'd an opposing character this turn, click the Herald Dial once, turn it twice if both apply. The Herald Dial can't be clicked past click number 12. And then real quick, the Herald also has power. If you occupy an opponent's starting area, roll a d6. If the result is equal or more than the number displayed on the Herald Dial, place Galactus anywhere on the map on its purple or 100-point starting line. So, very solid. You're probably not ever bringing out Galactus, especially if you're putting this on Iron Hammer, because you don't want to waste that power to bring him out unless you're just playing for fun, or you're up so much on points that it really doesn't matter at that point, and you really just want to throw Galactus on the board. Now the Herald's going to start with Phasing Teleport. Did I say that right? I'm not sure. But as you click down the dial, he goes into a completely different set of powers. It's nothing that's really going to help Iron Hammer. Really what you're getting out of the Herald Dial is the protected outwit. You start with Phasing Teleport, then you go into Hypersonic Speed on click 2, Running Shot, Charge, Quake, Pen Psych, Pulse Wave, RCE, Outwit, Perplex, PC, and then Pulse Wave and PC on click 12. So really not anything that's going to help Iron Hammer out a ton, but that protected outwit is almost worth the 25 points by itself. On top of all of that, you're also getting the Elemental Converter. The Elemental Converter is extremely helpful, especially in today's meta with pieces like Apocalypse and Scarab that kind of just sit in the starting area and wait for you to come to them. It says, at the end of your turn, click the Elemental Converter dial once. If Galactus or the Herald KO'd an opposing character this turn, you may click it an additional time, and it can't be clicked past click number 20. If a Power Cosmic is revealed on the dial, heal Galactus equals... that doesn't really matter for this. And then, at the end of each opponent's turn, deal 1 unavoidable damage to each character on that force within X squares of a map edge, where X is the number displayed on this dial. So you don't get a number on the dial until click number 4, so you have to go through 4 turns or KO a character and go through 2 or 3 turns to get to that number on the Elemental Converter and start dealing that unavoidable damage to pieces on the edge of the map. That's why you really want to go through turns quickly whenever you are playing a Herald Dial. That way you can get to these numbers a lot faster, maybe push them out from the edge and get a little bit more map control. So what you're seeing here in the background of this entire video is some playtesting that I kind of went through going against a generic Apocalypse, Genesis, X-Men theme team. And as you just saw, I kind of misplaced Sicarian Iron Man on that team, because at this point the Galactus Elemental Converter is on click 4 at the very least, and is able to deal 1 unavoidable to characters on the rim. Now, during this playtesting video, I kind of gave some leeway to the Apocalypse and Genesis team. They weren't rolling very hot, and my Felix Faust was rolling very hot with his D6s. I let Felix Faust's D6 rolls stay because I figured with this team I'm going to be able to run tarot cards that increase single D6 rolls because I'm not afraid of anybody else's single D6 rolls, right? With Iron Hammer, I had the best super senses in the game, so, and it's not outwittable, so why should I not run those tarot cards that increase single D6 rolls? So I didn't mess with Felix, long story short, didn't mess with Felix Faust's trait rolls, but I did re-roll some of the attacks that the Apocalypse and Genesis team was making because they were rolling a lot of 3s and 4s. And that just didn't seem fair. It didn't seem like it was going to be something that's that you can really count on whenever you're playing against the team. So I kind of gave some leeway to my opponent there. But what really set this in motion is I was able to KO Jubilee first turn. You know, even if she got Collector, I would have been able to KO that Jubilee. And at that point, my opponent has to come to me. And I'm making full use of Iron Hammer's improved targeting abilities here. I think you'll see coming up, I try to get to Apocalypse and everything else for this attack with Iron Hammer, but I'm just not able to. You'll see right there, Venom Magneto uses free TK to TK up an object so that Scarab can target through it. Because my team doesn't have any equipped characters, so he's really only relying on objects on the field to get Scarab in the action. Otherwise, it's 50 points that's just sitting there, not able to really do anything. And of course, he rolled another 3, and I was able to avoid it. No, actually, he hits that one, but Felix Faust, whenever he makes his attack, rolls a 4. So, all this aside, the fact that this team is not equipped, I'm not afraid of Scarabs. I had the ability to KO, you know, a high point piece like a Jubilee. You know, you might say 50 points isn't a lot, but compared to the rest of the pieces on my force, if I'm able to take out 50 points, you know, then my opponent has to come to me. And that really helps with Molecule Man and everything else on my side of the board. Yep. Now, what I will say is I need to get a lot better at removing the hindering markers for Molecule Man. That will really help my turns go faster with the Herald dial and the Elemental Converter. That's kind of a drawback to Molecule Man here, but at the same time, he's definitely worth it. And like I said, you'll see me trying to take out the Apocalypse and Venom Magneto in the back. But at the end, I figured it's just worth my time to take out the Sicarian Iron Man and the rookie bystander, because at that point he really doesn't have any offense outside of the Apocalypse coming in on me, and I don't think Apocalypse can take out Iron Hammer. But yeah, this is the team, guys. I'll let the rest of the playtest in the background play out. It's really just me taking out Sicarian Iron Man, taking advantage of Hope Summers and Felix Faust getting +1 to their damage from Collector, and the enhancement that both of them have for each other to take out Sicarian Iron Man here. Yeah, you'll see I ended up based next to Rookie. I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. Yeah, so I'll let this go ahead and play off in the background. There's really not too much left to the video. I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what all that was and give some a little bit of background on what I was trying to do here. Hope you guys all have a great week, great weekend, and I hope to see you guys again. Peace.